Hello, business students. Entrepreneurship week 6. Let's go. We had a good class last night. I covered our last of our 10 ways to evaluate a market, which was upfront investment. And then we got into our financial modeling, and we learned about our new financial modeling assignment. And then our new piece for our business, which is growth marketing. We're going to be writing some plans for marketing for your business. And there's a specific type of marketing that I want to introduce you to. It's called growth marketing, and you'll read about it. You'll try it out this week. All right. Well, hey, let's begin. So we're going to begin with our financial modeling. Um, Last week we were looking at variable versus fixed expenses. This week we're going to be looking at, hey, how do you respond if you don't actually know what all the expenses are for a business? So you want to start a business, but you actually don't know what the expenses are. And that's a problem because if we're trying to build a financial model like this, we have revenue here, we have expenses here, and then we take revenue minus expenses to get to net income. Well, if we don't know what all the expenses are, our financial model is not going to work. So that's really important. And I gave the example last night of this. Imagine that you were going to start a bicycle repair business where you repair people's bikes. What are all the expenses to running this business? Now, you probably don't know that, and that's for good reason. Why would you know that? But if you were going to start this and you wanted to build a financial model that was accurate, you would have to really understand what all the expenses are. And so how would you go about finding this knowledge? And then once you found it, how would you verify that it's true? And we had a good discussion last night. Some of you came up with the idea of Googling, hey, what are the expenses of running a bike maintenance shop? And man, Google is so powerful. That's the right answer. You're going to get a lot of answers. So, but then how do you verify that that knowledge is true? And some of you came up with the idea of calling people who already run this business and asking them. And that is absolutely the right answer. So we're going to start with Google, and then we're going to call people who are already running this business and interview them. Say, hey, what are your expenses every month? All right. Well, hey, guess what? This week's assignment is, here's our financial assignment for the week. And the business that you're going to get into is apartment rentals. So you're going to buy this property right here. This is a real property, by the way. Here's the address right here. You can go look it up. Here's the property that you're going to buy. It has 2 apartments. It has one on top and then one on the bottom. Okay, well, you need to build a financial model to see if this is going to make sense for you to buy. In other words, if you can make profit off of it. So here, what do we know so far? Okay, so here's what we know so far. This property has 2 units, a downstairs unit and an upstairs unit. The downstairs tenants pay $1,250 per month in rent, and the upstairs tenants pay $1,350 per month in rent. Well, this is really valuable information when we're thinking about building out our financial model. We would consider this revenue. So here's your revenue that you're going to be pulling in from this apartment building every month. So $2,600. I just added these 2 together. All right. Well, hey, we gotta start thinking about the expenses, because maybe the expenses are more than $2,600 a month. And if your expenses are higher than your revenue, you're not going to make profit. You're going to be losing money every month. So the question, we just figured this out. We said 2,600. Again, I just added the two rents together to get my revenue of 2,600. But what about expenses? What are all the expenses of running a property like this? I don't know. And I don't think you know either. And that's where we're going to go out. And the whole point of this exercise this week is for you to go out and try to find the expenses of running a duplex as a landlord. And so let's say that you come up with 5, 10 different expenses, right? So you're going to have your revenue, and then you're going to go out and you're going to find all these different expenses that you are responsible for as the homeowner. And then you're going to be able to take your revenue minus all your expenses, and you're going to be able to get to your net profit. So that's the goal for this week. Now, the only complicating factor is this. One of your major expenses is the mortgage that you're going to have to pay to at least one bank, probably two banks. And we're going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to give you these two expenses, and then you're going to go out and you're going to find all the other expenses. There's more than 5. There's more than 5. I just put 5 here so you can see what it could look like. I'm going to give you these two. We're going to work through the mortgage together, but then you're going to go out and find the rest of these, and you're going to build your financial model. So, hey guys, I'm going to go into a little discussion about how you actually really pay for a property like this. Because I understand that you do not have $270,000 in the bank to pay this person off to buy the property. So if you don't have $270,000, how do you get that money to buy the property? Well, that's where we get into mortgages. So let's imagine that we want to buy this property. We're going to go to this bank and we're going to say, hey, I want you to borrow me $270,000 to buy this investment property. Now, for investment properties that you yourself are not going to be living in, the bank needs 25% down payment. So they won't give you the full 270. They want you to come up with 25% on your own, and then they'll give you the rest. They'll borrow you the rest. Okay, well, what's 25% of 270? So if I just take my calculator here and say 270 times 0.25, I get that we're going to have to come up with, on our own, $67,500. So we're going to come up with $67,500. That's that 25% down payment that we're going to pay this bank. And then the bank is going to loan us, so we're going to say 270 minus 67,500. So the bank now is going to loan us 202,500. Do you see how those fit together? We are going to come up with somehow, we have to have $67,000, and then this bank is going to loan us $202,000. Well, okay, now when they loan us this money, they're going to want a monthly payback, right? So we can pay it down. Here is a monthly payback schedule. So if we say the house or the loan, sorry, this should not be house cost. If we say the loan cost is $189,900, so $189,000, our monthly mortgage is going to be $946. If the if the loan is $240,000, the monthly mortgage is going to be $1,269. So this is the amount that we're paying back in expense every month. So that would go right here. So you would put, hey, for one of my expenses, for my first mortgage, it would be, I'm just going to make this up, $1,300. Okay, but notice that we said after you put the down payment in, notice that we said, hey, we're going to put that $67,000 down payment, and all we're going to borrow from this bank is $202,000. Well, that falls in between here. And so you're going to have to kind of figure out what that monthly mortgage expense is here. So if it falls in between here, well, your monthly mortgage is going to fall in between here. And so you're going to have to figure that out. And so again, that number, you're going to have to pay that back every month for 30 years. And that number is going to go here. Okay, well, hey, we said that you got to come up with $67,000 for this 25% down payment. Where are you going to come up with that? Where are you going to come up with that money? So let's imagine you do not have this $67,000 in your pocket or in your bank. You're going to have to go to a different bank. So here's bank one. We borrowed $202,000. Well, here's bank two, and we may need to borrow some money from them to pay this down payment to bank one. So this is going to be a second mortgage that we take out. Now, this is where you get to decide how much you think you can pull out of your savings. So maybe you've worked for 5 years, 10 years after college, and you got let's say you have $17,000 saved up. Well, if you have $17,000 saved up that you can invest in this house here, you only need to borrow from this bank $50,000 because 50 plus 1750 equals 67. So you'll have this money. Now, it could be that you don't have this money. And then you'll need to take out this full amount as a loan. So that's up to you. You get to decide how much you want to pull out of your pocket and your savings to apply to this down payment over here. Here's the payback schedule, the payback schedule for this bank. If you take out a $50,000 loan, you're going to pay back every month $581. Now, I just broke this out into interest and principal, and those are really fun things to learn about. If you took out a $50,000 loan, your principal amount is going to be $416. And then your interest amount is going to be $165. When you add these two together, you get the $581. So essentially, I just broke out this return. This is the amount that's going to pay for your actual $67,000. And then this amount is your interest amount is what this bank is profiting from you every month for letting you borrow their money. So this is the bank's revenue. Long story short though, you guys, you got to figure out how much you need to take from this bank to get this $67,000. Again, if we said that you were going to pull $17,000 out of your savings and you only needed to take a $50,000 loan, then the amount that you're going to be paying back per month to this bank is $581. So this bank. So then that would go right here. Down payment mortgage would go right here, 581. So you can already see that we got two of our expenses here. Now your job is to go out and figure out all the other expenses that it takes to own a rental property like this. And you're going to add them here, and then we're going to see if it makes sense to buy this property monetarily. Now, the only thing I will add is this. What I want you to do is I want you to go research this apartment. So I want you to take this address and I want you to put it in both of these. Zillow is going to tell you all about this property. It's going to tell you all about this property. It's really fun. It's an awesome website. You're going to be able to see pictures inside of it. You're going to see the selling history. It's really brilliant. And then Rental Meter is going to tell you how much you can expect rent to be. So for instance, it's going to survey all the apartments around the area, and it's going to say, hey, look, you should expect to pay $1,300 in rent for each one of these, or it could be more. Someone could expect to pay, $1,700 a month. And if that's the case, then you can raise the rent on your people, maybe. Or if it says, wow, $1,300 is really expensive, you would probably need to keep it just as it is. So as investors, we use these two websites all the time to assess whether it's a good value to buy a property like this. I want to reiterate that your job is to create a financial model that accurately represents what it's going to take to run this business. This is a business. And so there's revenue, and then there's a whole bunch of expenses, and then we're going to see if it's worth it to buy this property. So that's what it is. You're going to turn in a Google Sheets. So you can create a new Google Sheet. You can create a new Google Sheet, and you're going to create your financial model like we're used to. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to stop the video here. We got one more thing to talk about, which is our growth marketing for your business. But I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to put that in the video right below here.